Shadowlands is almost over, and we're still actually learning new things with these dungeons. Now, this one in Theater of Pain has been a particular sore spot the entire expansion, and I recently made a video almost venting about how frustrating it was dealing with this mob and mind controlling it out. But we finally got the tip we needed, and I want to give credit where credit's due. Faxi said he saw somebody else who was streaming this. I think it was Dorky, I can't remember who, but basically showing exactly what should have been being done from season 1. I can't believe I never thought of this or really had this ever recommended to me. This is going to solve all the problems. So let's go ahead and take a look at the progress of it though, because it's not as easy as it sounds, and it's important that you see how I struggled to figure it out, so then you could potentially learn as well, and then we'll talk about what's happening. I got a small upgrade. I had already the same item on, but it was higher item level now, so. Alright, see you guys later. Where's he going? No, come back. He's going for the rock alley. Where's he going? He's going for the rock alley. Okay, let me quickly test this before this boss respawns. Come on, where's the mob? Oh, is it chasing the Oh my god, it is. Okay, so we make this guy run here. Right on the edge. Then jump down, target him, release it. No, can't grip him. Maybe he wasn't quite on the edge. Let's run around and try it again. Release him before you jump. Why? He's gonna move if I do that. Don't I need him to not move? Just right on the edge. He doesn't actually go on the edge is the problem, so I guess he's not working. That's not gonna work. Okay, release, then jump. Nope, still line of sight. Mid-air grip doesn't exist. That's not possible. You can't grip while you're falling. So you have to be able to at least stand still and do it. It's not really sure if it's ever going to be line of sight. I feel like I have to put him right up against the edge, but he doesn't want to come that close to the edge. He doesn't actually walk up there. He just kind of stops, you see. Oh, there we go. We got him up there now. That's just so much work though, man. I don't know. Yeah, that works. He has to be right on the edge though. Let's see if we can get it to happen actually fast. It's probably worth though, even if it takes 1 or 2 seconds to fiddle. The result is way better than having any potential risk there. Okay. It's not as hard as it looks. The problem is, like, will I be able to do it on the fly? Yeah, I definitely gotta like stop for a second and do it, but you just have to basically make him, yeah, okay. There's a You just have to make him go to the far edge of it. Yeah, there is no rush. You're right about that. It's worth it for sure, because then he doesn't complicate the rest of the dungeon. Even if it's a few or like 3 or 4 seconds, pretty much have to wait anyway. So you just gotta kind of get him to land on the opposite side. There's like a middle point here that you need him to go. Yeah, there we go. Just basically target the other side of it. And that's it. Just probably a few seconds to grip them, but that's all you need. So it's as easy as that, I guess. So quickly, I'll go through a rundown of what's actually happening here in case you haven't been following this conversation since the beginning of the expansion. This ancient captain mob is an incredibly difficult mob to fight with the pack that he's in just before the Zav, the Unfallen boss. A lot of people CC or skip here anyway. As Blood Death Knight, we can just mind control undead, specifically this mob, out of that pack, and then you just kill the 4 small mobs and it's super easy. He also buffs us. At one point this was bugged and people were telling me it was a big problem, but I'm 99% sure it's fixed now. So he's working as intended. He gives you a buff as well. We made a whole video about when and where we were going to do this because it was really kind of annoying and complicated to deal with him. And what I'm showing you now is finally the way to solve this. The complication with this mob is he kind of just does whatever he wants when you run around in these areas. So you mind control him out, and ideally you would just like one-shot him, right? Like if you could explode him, that's probably what you would want to do here, because even though the buffs are good for you, him kind of following you around in this weird way is not good for anybody. If you come to this wing first, be warned, I have had problems with him in other wings. I always do this wing last. I feel like this is the best way to do it, but obviously people disagree with that, so that's going to be up to you. But if we take him to the Kultarok wing, he actually just runs all the way down to the bottom of the floor and then back up the sides of the platforms that you are supposed to be teleporting across, and he will run through trash and aggro them. And again, this is something something. People said that they don't have it happen to them. I had it happen to me. It's not worth it. I don't care. That is a complete wipe and it's probably going to cause a big fight and things are not going to go well from there. So I won't ever be doing that. But regardless, I always find Zav is the best last boss here, the best boss without heroism. So we're going to go ahead and do this always, no matter what anyway. So this lines up really well for me. But the big problem that we're finally able to solve now is when you jump off this little balcony here, the mob will not be able to follow you off it. So he'll have to run all the way back around. Now there's a variety of reasons why this is a problem, but the main one is that the mob will get so far away from you that it will no longer be your pet and it will become hostile again. So if I jumped off this platform and made a beeline as fast as possible to the middle of the room to go up to fight the final boss, in that time the mob would no longer be my control undead pet. It would be hostile again, and now we'd be so far away from a mob that it would be vulnerable to the new snapping that we have in Shadowlands. Not like the BFA snapping where it'll just suddenly appear and you can get everything together like that. It's a lot more complicated and it always seems to make mobs evade. The ultimate problem we had, and the reason I stopped messing with this mob entirely and what caused the entire other video we made before, was because when that happens and the mob evades and comes up through the floor, if you're fighting an evaded mob, when the boss spawns, the boss will pulse and evade as well and it will despawn. And that is really, really bad because obviously if people expect to be fighting the boss, they're probably going to pop all their CDs, maybe potion, but more so the boss is then gone for like a minute and you have to wait for it to respawn. So I just never thought this was worth it. Well, now the only actual issue here was the fact that this mob had to run all the way back around. We've now solved that. And the TLDR of how to do that is right here. So it's a control undead mob. You have full control over this mob. You can move it with the control 3 button. That's the default keybind, but control and 3 will be able to move this mob wherever you want, and then you'll have a little targeting reticle. And what I'm showing on the screen right now is exactly where it needs to be. It's important because it doesn't seem like the mob wants to run up on top of this. You kind of have to force him to run past it so he kind of gets stuck on it. You have to kind of place that reticle on the downslope of the far edge. You'll see what I mean when you get in there and look at it more specifically if you've never really paid attention to this lip. But it's basically a big rounded kind of like a curb. Even you as a player, if you just run straight into it, a lot of times you'll get stuck on it. But so this mob's going to have the same problem. He's not really going to be able to get up on here. So you have to target the opposite side of kind of the middle point of this, and then it'll force him to get up on the ledge. And then that's it. You've done the hard part. You now jump down. Just make sure you have him targeted and release the control undead. I'm using a macro for that. However you want to do that, just release that. And now he'll be hostile. So you have him targeted and you press the death grip spell and he will just get death grip down to you. And that's it. You just solved all the problems with this mob. Just be aware though, if you don't do it quick enough, he's going to start running to try to get to you, right? Like he's going to run all the way back around and then try to attack you from there. So it needs to be pretty quick. But like I was saying in the footage, you can't actually grip while falling. So make sure you do not do this until you actually land on the ground. Been a long road with this mob, honestly. It's quite funny. I went from thinking this was like one of the most overpowered things in the game to hating it to now being back to talking about it. So hopefully this is the end of the solution. And like was talked about on the stream there, you're in no rush here because you have at least like 15 seconds of RP once everybody gets upstairs anyway. So even if this takes 3 or 4 seconds for you fiddling with this mob to get it on the balcony, it's going to save a lot of potential issue. Now you could do nothing here, and I've been trying that and trying various other ways to get this mob to follow me, but it's just after you see the last boss reset because of a mind controlled mob that you're supposed to be taking to give you guys a benefit, it's really hard to go back to ever wanting to do that for me. So anyway, I hope this helps people. It's just something that's really interesting to me that we're still talking about new strategies for this dungeon, and not even strategies like on a growth scale, but very minute things like this. Can't believe I never thought of this. Obviously, it's kind of silly to even look back at this. This is obviously what we should have been doing, but we did finally come to that realization. But one thing I do want to say, this is a key example of why I'm not looking forward to the new Mythic Plus style they're going to be proposing from Season 4 through Dragonflight. Because like if you want to get really good at a dungeon, sometimes it takes you like over a year. I mean, especially people who don't have as much free time. So when you're only going to have, say, Grimrail Depot for 3 or 4 months, yeah, there's going to be a lot left on the table there. And it's just a lot more interesting to see what the beginning of the expansion dungeon looks like compared to what the end expansion dungeon looks like. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this, and we will see you guys in the next one.